You've been hiding. What's going on? Huh? Do you not like me anymore?
What?
I was interviewing you and Matt together.
No, you weren't. Team what?
No, let's not go there. Nothing.
Oh, you see, you're getting on political, dragging me. Never talk sex, politics, or religion.
What?
Yeah.
What? All right. No, so 4 minutes in, yeah, and you're like, oh, I've got to go get my bag.
Yeah, but listen,
the
problem was this: my bags, my life, this week's life of clothes were in my bag. And I thought, my bag's over there. I'm in East London. Now, I'm not being judgmental, but I just wanted my clothes because I couldn't see them. So when I went, things got moved. There's some more important things happened, like the clothes and stuff.
You told me it was just a pair of hot pants in your bag.
Oh, you're good. He's teaching you good. You're on fire. How you doing, man? You good?
I'm all right. Can we talk some boxing?
Yeah, let's roll. Let's roll.
Boxing.
Let's roll. Let's get away from over here where it's a bit quiet.
What have you made of Devin Haney becoming world champion?
He's the youngest current world champion now, isn't he?
Yeah, but he fought for an interim title 6 weeks ago and he has been elevated to world champion because Loma's franchise.
You see, and I think even as a fighter, even though officially that's the status given, you wanna win something like that in the ring with your hand up and announce then. So even though he appreciates it, Devin Haney, we'll find out how right that decision was. In his next fight, in his next couple of defences, and he'll dominate that to say, look, this really happened. I can't remember, there was a fighter that was elevated to world champion, McDonald.
Oh yeah.
And he didn't actually feel as though he won it in the ring until he actually defended it, and he said, now I feel like world champion. And I think Devin Haney's probably in the same position.
Someone like Haney, I mean, he was bound to win a world championship anyway.
Man, you can't really say that, because what happens is in our sport, because people think if everybody says it enough, it's true. This guy's brilliant, this guy's unbelievable, this guy's X, Y, Z, and all of a sudden he gets turned over. Well, he couldn't do this. So the only way you can prove things like that is fighters have to do it themselves in the ring. It's not what you and I say. It's them getting in the ring.
Look, I'm agreeing with you. I'm thinking, if I was in that position, talented as Devin Haney is, I wouldn't want to win a world title like that. Especially with Devin, I'm saying there's a strong chance he would have won a world title in the ring.
Strong chance.
I'm saying, and fans are upset about this.
But now you're giving critics a chance to say, yeah, really? And as an ex-fighter, I would have preferred, I wouldn't have turned it down, obviously, but I know that feeling of euphoria. I would have wanted to win it in the ring and not get it via a phone call, oh, you're being elevated to world champion. Don't feel the same.
Do you think it's a bit strange? Lomachenko's had one fight under the WBC, which has been sanctioned by them, which is the Luke Campbell fight, and now he's the franchise champion. Yeah. Whatever that means.
You see, unfortunately, the governing bodies, they dilute and convolute their rules so much it confuses even the people that's supposed to know about the sport. And Lomachenko, we know he's a talented individual, but again, I'd want to be, as a fighter, you just want to pull these things up, pull these victories off in the ring and say, right, this is me, this is done. There's only a handful of world champions out there that actually believe they are the best in the world, and I keep saying that, people that are not actually really understand what I'm saying. You've got guys that are probably WBC, WBO champion, and I think, well, I'm the best when I can be X, Y, Z. When I was champion, I believed I was the best cruiserweight in the world. At WBC, I believed I could beat all of them, and so I really believed it. If you go to the other champions and ask them, do you think you're the best in the world? Tyson Fury thinks he's the best in the world.
This is an interesting point. Do you not, like this whole lineal thing?
Yeah.
People try and downplay it. Some people say it's really important. Does it not make it now more significant? If you're the lineal champion, then you're the man, surely.
Yeah, you are the man. But
because there's so many belts flying around.
Exactly. And the thing is, I don't know if it's a chance for the governing bodies to still make extra revenue outside of the champion. But again, it just will complain. It dilutes the sport, dilutes the understanding of the governing body. But unfortunately, these are businesses. These are the governing body want to make money as well as run the history of that relevant play. So I do get it, but again, I'll go back to it again. The fighters always want to do this in the ring. It doesn't matter what he said out there. And Tyson Fury, as far as he's concerned, he's done it in the ring, so he doesn't need the nod at the WBC, WBA, IBF, WBO to say you're the best in the world. He believes he's the best in the world, regardless if you or I think otherwise. He believes he's the best, and that's the difference.
I'm sure Devin, will want to beat legitimate opponents and kind of like, it's no fault of Devin what's happened here, already, really. It's not their fault. It's a rule by the WBC, which has not gone down great, shall we say. So it's no fault of Devin. He's just a young man. He's got nothing to do with this, really. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think there's too many belts flying around. I think that's fair to say. You can see why Dana White, who wants to come into boxing, so he doesn't want to work with the sanctioning bodies now, whether that's practical.
I love that. And that's what I'm saying. In our sport, we shoot ourselves in the foot. Because if you want to get that crossover appeal, look at something like Anthony Joshua. He's one of those fighters that has that crossover appeal where your granny, who knows nothing about boxing, think, oh, he's a lovely fighter, lovely lad, and you want to watch him. He's got that crossover appeal, and that's why he's getting corporate investment and sponsorship, because he's giving an impression of our sport being so nice, so good, so clean, and whatever. But then when the governing bodies start juggling all these different belts into it, you're confusing people that are into sport. If you went to someone in the street and said, who's the heavyweight champion of the world, that wasn't into boxing, they'd be like, he's not allowed that beat Anthony Joshua. No, it's that other lad from America. You're confusing people. You need people to say, yes, he's the champion of the world, she's the best fighter in the world, and that's they don't do themselves any favours. Until they're put in a position where they've got to do something about it, that's going to be the case.
Andy, you got a couple of minutes? Just having it. Get your take on it as well. Talking about Devin Haney being world champion now and Loma being moved to franchise. Now, for me, it's confusing. If Loma fights the winner of Comi Lopez, is he undisputed? Is Haney the champion? Like, what's your take on WBC's decision?
I think with something like this, the only thing the fans can really do is just refuse to accept this WBC franchise champion status, and just everybody still recognise Lomachenko as being the WBC champion. I do the rankings and that kind of profile for Sky, so we'll put up on the screen who the WBC champion is, and we'll do it on Saturday because we got Burn Selby, which is a lightweight fight, and Vasily Lomachenko will be named as the WBC champion according to our records, because he is.
And Haney's just interim.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's all you can do.
Well, that's exactly what I said. The whole point with fighters is, and Haney, even regardless of him being given that nod on paper, he'll want to achieve something like that in the ring.
Yeah.
No fighter is like, he's going to be jumping for joy and dropping to his knees crying when he gets a phone call saying you've been elevated to world champion. Don't worry like that. And he's right. We've just got to try and blanketly ignore it. Let him try and baffle you with science. Ignore it and say, look, this guy won this fight in the ring, got this done. He's the one that you want to be looking at.
Because nobody actually, with the greatest of respect to Jamal Charlo, no one actually thinks Charlo is WBC middleweight champion, do they?
No.
It's Canelo, and that's how it has to be, and it just makes things very messy and irritating. And I know the WBA have the super champion and the regular champion, but you take this fight with Prograis Taylor, no one's under any illusion that Regis Prograis is the WBA champion. Mario Barrios won the regular title, and well done to him for that. Seriously, that sounded really patronising, but Prograis the champion, we all know that. I mean, it's a non-satisfactory situation. But
yeah, and I said to Johnny, you can see why Dana White, who wants to come into boxing, doesn't want to work with these sanctioning bodies. I said to him, whether that's practical, it's going to work as a different story.
But Dana White could bring something new to the sport to say, right, and at the end of the day, the eyes will be on his prize. People will think, you know what, this guy's no nonsense. This guy's saying, look, I haven't got 3, 4, 5 different champions. And it'll get to the point where the respect for the other governing bodies will slowly but surely dwindle and disappear, not just by the public, but by the TV companies. And once the TV companies start to say no, unfortunately we're not accepting that, this is the line we're going to go down, that's when they might start doing something about it.
PBC are trying to do that, aren't they? I think that's what they're trying to do with Fox, is to get to a position where they can just have a kind of PBC champion, if you like. You look at the welterweights, they've got all of them, apart from Crawford.
They don't even put Crawford in their list.
Right, and they didn't put Callum Smith in their list at one point either, and you could see that's why it's quite a Fox thing to do, but you could see that was what that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
But we don't want that. We don't want DAZN champions. We don't want Fox champions. We don't.
What we want is the mess to be tidied up, and that's what we want. And if somebody's out there doing that, like Dana White might go out there and try and do that. AHMED might be trying to do that. Then at least we get some clarity.
Why don't you get yourself involved? Sort everything out.
Nah, unfortunately, I think if you're going to be in a nest of vipers, you've got to be able to bite, my friend. And I can't bite that hard.
Okay, just the last one. News on Dillian Whyte today.
Yeah.
UCAD said WBC said if UCAD clear him, he will be mandatory for Deontay Wilder, but after we'll see fights Wilder and Tyson Fury and Wilder have a trilogy if that happens. So he could be looking at.
Funny thing was, before this news came out, we were having a conversation about Dillian Whyte's situation, and again, it's a case of Dillian Whyte's kept his dignity, kept his cool, kept his head up, and got on with the job. There were other rumours around that fight involving both fighters that haven't come out yet. I think once that has been cleared up, Dillian Whyte's been living on a promise for the last 3 years. Yeah, after this fight. So I actually, if I was Dillian Whyte, I just get on with it, get on with the job. As far as he's concerned, he's done nothing wrong, and I think it's defamation of character that's probably done him more than anything else, and that's probably why he's going to go to the court. I tell you one thing, that interview will be riveting when he eventually sits down to talk cool get out of him, but that'll be interesting, that interview when he gives it.
But if he hasn't done anything wrong, which we think is the case, right? Yeah. So he's got to wait till practically 2020 December, even maybe 2021 to get that shot at either Fury or Wilder. That's not right, is it?
It's not been right for him for the past 3 years. That's what I'm saying. You just think, Jesus, give a man a break. And it's not just down to the governing bodies, it's down to the fighters. You know, if Deontay Wilder is king of the hill and believes he's the best in the world, why not just, shut him up? He did it with Ortiz. He took a fight that nobody wanted with Ortiz. Why not do it with Whyte? Why not? So it's up to the fighters to say, no, you know what? Mayweather got to the stage where he was bigger than the belts themselves. Very few fighters have done that. And he did the fights, well, I don't care. I'm fighting this guy. I'll still get the review. I'm not going to give you my sanctioning fee because, I'm doing it my way. Wilder's in a position to do that. Fury's in a position to do that. And whoever does that, they will go up in everybody's estimation. I think Wilder flew up in my estimation when he took on Ortiz the first time.
Everyone.
I went, yes, I respect to that. He's taken a fight that nobody wanted. Do it again.
I mean, no one's going to be complaining if we have 2 more Wilder Fury fights, right? But from just a Dillian Whyte perspective, that must be hella frustrating. Yeah. But as you said, he's had it for so long now.
Yeah, he's had it for so long, so we can complain about what's happening to him. And this is probably convenient to everybody else. This pause in his career. But it's just, excuse my French, it's a shit situation.
All right, Johnny Nelson, thanks for staying with me this time.
I stayed with you.
Where's your bag?
I was going to give you the slip actually when Andy came in.
Yeah, I thought that. Cheers, mate. Thank you.
See you later.